Hello friends, welcome back. I'm Angela Imagination, Mrs. Imagination, but you can call me either one. I'm so glad that you are here to see the activities I had planned for the book, How to Make an Apple Pie and See the World by Marjorie Priceman. Oh, this was such an interesting book because not only did our character travel around the world to different places like Italy, France, England, Sri Lanka, Jamaica, and Vermont, but we learned how to make an apple pie, and there's even a recipe in the back of the book. I think I'm going to use it one of these days soon. Well, you know, the first activity we're going to do is in our writer's notebook. Yes, and actually we're adding something to one of the pages that we started recently. We were talking about point of view and how an author writes from their point of view, how they are seeing things take place. And we said that most of the time an author writes from third person. That means it's like they're not in the action and they're not telling you what to do. They are telling what is happening. That's third person. They're looking into the action. We've also learned that there are memoirs, and they are first person. First person means you're talking about yourself. So you're saying I and me, or we and us. But we've recently learned about second person, and that's when you use the pronoun you. And so you are giving someone instructions or directions. You are teaching someone about something because you're saying you. And this book, How to Make an Apple Pie and See the World, it's perfect for second person because, do you remember one of the things I talked about in our video where I read the book is we talked about how it showed a process. So you can actually write a process and make it interesting, just like Marjorie Priceman did. She could have just written the directions for how to make an apple pie, which is a recipe that she has at the end of the book, but she included some adventure in it. So one of the ways to use second person is in a process. One day, maybe there's something that you've learned how to do that you would like to share with other people. Write it down and make it fun and interesting or adventurous. All right, we're going to be such good readers writers with all of the things we've learned in our writing notebook. Now, let's move on to an activity, an activity that's going to use our hands. Yes. Have you ever made applesauce? I told you before, I love apples. There are a lot of ways I like to eat apples. I like to just eat them plain. I like to cut them up and spread a little peanut butter on them and eat them. I've eaten them with caramel dip. That's so delicious. Baked in apple pie or small apple pies, fried apple pies, apple fritters. Oh my goodness, there's so many things, but applesauce is something that you can actually make. Maybe with a little bit of help, depending on your age. So you need an apple, and you need to cut your apple. You need to slice it and peel it. So I'm using my handy dandy apple slicer. I'm gonna have to stand up to do this. I told you it was active. This is sharp. These are very sharp and they can cut you. So once you get the slices of apple, you know, I think that children should only use plastic knives. This is a plastic knife. And you can kind of cut the peeling off of it. Now that part is really kind of hard. So you may want to get a parent or an adult or somebody older, a teenager, to trim the peeling off. And once you have your little piece of apple, see it? You're gonna take a bowl and you're gonna cut it into little pieces. So I'm going to show you here. Just gonna cut it. You're probably gonna put yours on a little cutting board and you're just gonna cut. And it'll take a little while, but you can sing a song or watch a video. Oh, maybe not. Or memorize something like try to say the ABCs or your multiplication facts, or just talk to somebody else in the room. And while you're doing it, just chop up your apple into small pieces. Do you see that I've chopped it into small pieces? So some of them are larger than others, but they're small pieces. Now, if your parents want to help you and you have a food processor or a blender, you can cut it into bigger pieces and put it in there and it'll chop it up so fine. But the fun way to do it is this. Then you will need something to mash it with. Mash all those little pieces. If you're not gonna use a blender or a food processor, you're gonna use your brute strength. And I found this tool that I could mash it with, and I put the pieces in here. Now I've already been doing this a while, but I started mashing and I just mash in the bowl. And once again, it's gonna take some time, but you know, it's fun time. And I mashed this for about 5 minutes. That's really not very long. And look what I have. Now, apples don't stay this color for very long. They start discoloring, so you may have to put some lemon juice in it. But you know, do you see that I have some applesauce? It's chunky applesauce. Now, there are recipes for applesauce that call for adding maybe a little brown sugar or some cinnamon and some water. You can even cook your apples if you could cut them into bigger pieces, and you could cook them with a little bit of water, and then they're real easy to mash up, and that's so delicious. You don't even need sugar if you cook them. For some reason, those sugars come out when it's put over heat, and oh, that is so delicious. So that's one thing you could do. Now, the next thing we're going to look at is fun. And I'm gonna use some of the pieces of this cut up apple. Do you see these 2 pieces right here? Do they remind you of anything? We're going to make do they remind you of lips? Yeah, we're gonna make an apple smile. That's what we're gonna make. We're gonna make an apple smile. So let's put this up here with this right here. Okay, the first thing I need to tell you about is if you are allergic to peanut butter, then you will need something other. I'm going to use peanut butter, but they make almond butter. They make a product called tahini. If you're allergic to peanut butter, I bet your parents know an alternative that you can use for this. Sunflower seed butter, soy, I think there's even a cookie butter. I haven't tried it yet, but Mrs. Imagination is going to do that. So, I'm going to get some peanut butter on my plastic knife, and I'm going to put it here because we need something to stick these two together, right? And it's not going to take very much. So I have the peanut butter on there. Now, if I am smiling, what do you see? I could smile like this, but that's more of a grin. No, if I'm truly smiling, you see my teeth. Well, if this mouth is just smiling like this, it doesn't have teeth. So we need some pretty white teeth called marshmallows. Oh, I'm going to put some mini marshmallows on here. And then I have an apple smile. Is that so cute? Now, this was a small apple, and if I had had a larger apple, it would stay together easier. But that would also be delicious. You know, I'm gonna put this one right here. Here's our apple smile. Whoa. Here's our apple smile. You can also do that with a green apple. Now, we don't normally have green lips, do we? But I found one. You may want to do this to make like a monster smile. I'm just going to show you what it looks like. You use the green apple, and you see the tongue sticking out? That is a piece of a strawberry. And they used sunflower nuts for the teeth because they kind of look jagged and broken, don't they? Also, they used some candied eyes. So that's just the way to make a monster mouth. An apple monster mouth. Oh, that was fun and yummy. I'm gonna eat my apple smile a little bit later. Did you like this book? Oh yes, thank you so much for coming and seeing the activities that we had planned today. I had a delightful time sharing them with you. I hope you'll come back another time, and until I see you again, as I always say, see ya.